Hey, it's time Squircle 11 for another episode of Blade Buffs, this time going over the Axe Blades. So, Axes are already one of the best weapon types, already got a lot of really good blades in the weapon type, so this will just be going over the ones that are outclassed already, like Gorg and Agat. And also buffing Morag's Axe Kit a little bit, because as it is, Zeke is the only one who's really good with axes, and Morag is just good with Dagos. So we can buff Morag's Axe Kit a little bit and make her another viable option for using axes. So, not a lot to do with this, but I feel like we could very easily make Galeblade and Admiral Waltz into AoE attacks. It would fit with her being the main driver for Dagos, giving her some AoE options. I think we could really make this an AoE topple as well. It's already AoE. I think we could very easily make this topple instead of increased damage to launch enemies. Give her another topple art, or make it a launch art. Doesn't really matter. Either one works. Now for the blades themselves. First we'll go with Gorg. So Gorg is already a very good blade. He's not the best, but he's very good at his niche already. The main thing he's lacking in is damage and good specials. So he's got a very nice niche of being very defensive. He's got this great skill to reduce party damage. He's got this one to make him more bulky, though realistically he could have just had better defenses to begin with and given a different skill for this. But honestly, there's nothing I'd really change about his skills. I think his skills are fine, except for this one. This is already a niche skill, so I don't know why these niche skills already are as low as they are. They could easily be increased a bit to 100% damage instead of 80% damage. And now for the main thing, his specials. This one's awful. Make this critical damage, please. This one, I mean, he's a tanky blade, so I don't see any need for this. It's pretty mediocre. We could make this increase damage to toppled enemies because he's got that effect on here. So move that effect down to this one and make this increase damage to toppled enemies. Now this is going to be the more unique thing we do with him to fit his niche of being a bulky party support, reducing damage. So I talked about this, I believe, with some of the healer blades, mainly Bitballs, I think. Xenoblade 2 is lacking in on-demand support options. Most support options are passive. So there's not a lot of ways to really play support besides just having a blade out. So we're going to fix that by making this special, when it hits, applies damage barrier to the party. So that's damage barrier is already a really useful effect. It's just not really available. The only ways to really get it are with Affinity Max Barrier, which is a real waste of an Oxcore slot, and like a few skills, really. Actually, is Ursula the only one that has that? I don't remember if anyone else has that, but... So an easy way to fix that is making specials that can apply barrier when they hit. And his level 3, I feel like with the name alone, it really makes sense to have this be a damage reduction special. Also, if I recall correctly, his special ratios are below average, so I would also raise them up to average. Like, at least raise them up to average. But yeah, so the main things for Gorg is just fix this already niche skill so that it's just a bit higher, and give him better special effects. Mainly this one being that it applies barrier on hit, and also make the level 4 apply barrier on hit, because there just needs to be specials that apply barrier. That would make a lot more useful support options. Now, next is Agat. So, Agat's niche. Agat's niche is already buffed by Dagos. There is no reason to use Agat when Kaiser's Zone exists. So, there is honestly no way to properly buff Agat to her niche because her niche is already covered and done really well by Dagos. So instead, we're going to combine Agat and Dagas into a single blade. There's no reason to have Agat existing when she's just completely outclassed. So combine them into a single blade, have Dagas give him the mineral theme that Agat already has. He can stay Fire Blade, but give him the mineral theme because Agat looks really cool. And we can give him this to replace his gold skill because, I mean, this is useless out of battle. This is only an out of battle skill. It's useless in battle. We can keep the gold effect, honestly, by just throwing it into Kaiser's or throw it into this one because it makes sense for Dagas to have that. If you really need to keep the gold effect, just throw it into one of his other skills, combine them. And then give him increased damage to toppled enemies as this skill. And Nopon Wisdom is already a lot of Nopon Wisdom, so give him Agat's Keen Eye. As for his specials, he's already got the better specials. I mean, this one's pretty niche. You could maybe make it critical damage. What is Agat? Yeah, Agat doesn't have anything good for level 1 either. So you could make this one critical damage, but honestly, I think it's okay enough to keep that. And this one, make it increased damage to toppled enemies or critical damage. Either one works. But yeah, the main thing is just combine them into a single blade because Agat is outclassed. There's no real way to buff her without just making her another Dagas. And we can also throw in, give the new combined Agat and Dagas level 5 mineralogy because they both have mineralogy already. They're both kind of mineral themed or gem themed. So it makes a lot of sense to combine them. It's really weird how similar they are concept-wise. They both have mineralogy, they both have gem themes to them, and they both have a party buff damage, party damage buff at max affinity. It's just Dagas is so much better at it. So yeah, just combine Agat and Dagas together. Also, give Dagas Agat's 20/20 defenses and Dexterity mod, because Dexterity is a bit more useful than Strength mod. Driver strength stat doesn't really matter for much, but Dexterity is always more useful for consistency. So basically, we just take the few good things that Agat has over Dagas, give them to Dagas, and while we're at it, make him a more likable character like her. Yeah, so that is it for how to buff the Axe Blades. If you watched the end of the video, then comment Blossom Dance down below to let me know. And so next time we'll be covering the Cannon Blades, which will be another buffing the outclassed ones, and maybe fixing some of the driver kits. And then after that will be the finale to the series where we go over Hammer Blades again, covering more ideas for how to buff Hammer Blades, some more specific and better ways to fix aggro than the ones I went over originally, since this series started off with Hammer Blades, and I've been suggested a lot of better ideas for how to buff Hammer Blades since then. And if there's other ideas you have for how to buff blades that we've already covered, you could let me know that also, and I could end up doing more review episodes where we go over better ideas to buff the blades that we're already gone over. So, see you next time.